Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. 2014. It seems like only yesterday that I was barely scraping by with my videos, not even making enough money to pay my phone bill. But anyway, I'm very happy with how far they've come, and at an ever-increasing quality, if I may say so myself.
Excuse me? So, your video's been doing great, have they?
Well, yeah, my show's in HD now.
What about Decker Dragons?
Oh. That.
You haven't made a new video in almost a year.
It's not that I don't want to, it's just a lot of work to get a weekly review show of this quality out and ready for viewing. And besides, I never got that Surface Pro, so that kinda kicked efficiency in the ass right there.
Don't care, I'm not moving until I get some D&D.
Okay, how about the Dungeons & Dragons movie? Released in 2000, the Dungeons & Dragons movie was a directorial debut of Courtney Solomon, who evidently is male, and actually got the rights to produce it back in 1990 when he was 19 years old. Back then, he got the rights from TSR, the same year Wizards of the Coast was founded. They bought TSR 7 years later, and were they themselves bought by Hasbro in 1999.
Hey, wait, didn't this movie get nominated 11 times by Stinker's Bad Movie Awards?
Technically.
Then, how did this movie get made in the first place if the rights got shifted by 3 different companies each before it was ever made?
Despite this changing of hands for the product itself, the rights to the movie still belonged to Courtney, so it was responsible for what eventually came forth from Silver Pictures, and because it was his sole responsibility, it took him 10 years to acquire the funding to get it made in the first place.
I think I'd rather play some Dungeons & Dragons.
But the movie!
Nuh-uh.
The review!
Don't care.
I'll let you have a pet pseudo-dragon.
In this case, let's watch Dungeons & Dragons the movie and see if it's really worth those nominations.
The movie opens to a narration giving us the basic history of the world, that the land is ruled by magi, and any non-magic user is automatically a peasant. You know, nothing like the game whatsoever.
You can make the game however you like, though.
Oh, sure, like any DM could actually get away with this crap. And in this land, the magi are held up as rulers over the commoners, or a little more than slaves.
Bullshit!
Continuing to be nothing at all like an actual game session, the player characters have nothing at all to do with the rest of the opening, as we're introduced to the big bad guy of this movie, Profion, played infamously by Jeremy Irons. For the 10 of you out there who don't know, he was also the voice of Scar in Disney's The Lion King.
Wait, what's that stick he's got?
Oh, that's a magic rod that he still has to test.
Then should he save the cherry until after he's tested and find out how it works? His lackey erased Murphet's makeup drawer before filming is Damodar, played by Bruce Payne. But what we've all been waiting for has been behind door number 3.
In Dungeons & Dragons, the dragon designs are very specific based on the color or metal of the dragon, considering whether or not it's a chromatic or metallic dragon. Still, it's interesting to note that
that dragon doesn't look a thing like the dragons in D&D.
Well, yeah, that.
And I don't think I have to explain just how bad the CGI looks, even for a movie from 2000. This was later than Jurassic Park, after all.
You have the power of the immortals. You can control dragons.
It also doesn't matter that you non-specifically said the immortals when, in Dungeons & Dragons, none of the listed immortals have said power.
This is as much of a D&D movie as it is a Mega NT film.
But wouldn't you know it, his rod of dragon puppeteering had only one charge, so after wasting it on a walk command, he wastes his guinea pig, and shows us more wasted potential as CGI blood oozes down just about as good looking as a pre-rendered Sega CD game. Okay, you're the dragon expert. You tell me what the hell's going on.
Me? You're the science guy. What chemical reaction causes water to ignite?
This transitions immediately over to the two lead characters for this film, Ridley and Snails, played by Justin Whalin and Marlon Wayans, respectively. You may remember Justin from Final Encounter, or For the Cause, whatever the hell it was called in your country.
And Marlon?
Pretty much everything. I know he's not everyone's favorite actor, and certainly not the first you would think of for a Dungeons & Dragons movie, but I don't hate him nearly as much as most critics for this role. To be fair, he has some of the best acting chops of anyone on set, and at least he looks like he gives an attempt to entertain the audience.
What is that? A dragon tooth. Put it back. Come on, just a dragon Put it back. Okay, what about a gold dragon tooth? It's too big. Put it back. Really?
This isn't too far off how some people really play D&D.
Yeah.
I'm going to use sleight of hand to slip the reins off the Duke's fingers.
Oh, come on, you've already stolen his weapon, his shield, his helmet, and his pants. You really think that you want fries with that?
The two of them have broken into a magical school near all the commotion of the river being on fire as a quick and easy way to score some gold. This may seem incredibly stupid for a pair of level 1 rogue characters, but they do me up with a magic user for the group.
What are you doing?
So we're the cleaning crew. Right. Dirty.
And they roll a 1 on their bluff check.
I guess that means you're playing them.
Hey! The magical Madame Marina, played by Zoe McClellan, casts a spell on the two that binds him in a magical rope that coincidentally enough must remain a certain distance from her. So when she runs towards the commotion of Damodar torturing her master for the scroll with the secret map to the secret location of the secret rod to control red dragons... I've heard some convoluted campaign notes before, but fuck, we're still at the 15-minute mark in the movie!
And you didn't even explain about what's going on with the council and the 14-year-old empress.
Anyway, she escapes via a magic portal, which of course she accidentally drags Ridley and Snails through to boot. As she casts one of those inconvenient portals that stay open, allowing the pursuers to easily follow, we are introduced to the fourth member of the party amidst the commotion.
Nice.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm role-playing.
Never play a dwarf again. Ninja Dwarfs buys them enough time to escape into the sewers, and even though Damodar says to post brigades at every sewer entrance and exit, they make out okay while the camera's away. Marina is shocked to hear that she is being framed for her master's killing.
They can't be framing me. I'm an aristocrat, a mage.
A low-level mage, completely expendable. Practically worthless.
Magic missile. Oh, what have you got? 4 hit points? Please.
With Rogue having 6 hit points, he doesn't have much room to talk.
Profion is also quite baffled with Damodar's failure to capture the player characters after cornering and severely outnumbering them, so he makes sure that things will go smoother from here on out by giving his character a little more depth. Oh, personally, I can't help but laugh thinking about how these scenes must have looked before they added the special effects.
I just think those scenes are disgusting.
I suppose ear tentacles are a bit of a mindfuck.
While the city-wide manhunt and one posters line the street, still the heroes have no problem taking a break at a local pub. The city guard's search check must really suck.
Or the DM has no idea how to run a remotely believable campaign. Likewise, despite being level 1 with 6 skill points to his name, Ridley somehow manages a lucky roll on his use magic device check, getting sucked into the ancient magic scroll.
See that there? I knew that boy had talent.
A scroll with a challenge rating high enough that an entire school of magi couldn't decipher it, yet this level 1 rogue gets it right first try. Did you let him borrow your dice or something?
She follows after him and is forgotten about as the scene continues, so we can watch Snails try to woo an elven maiden. This is immediately interrupted when Mr. Blue Lips arrives to the party fashionably late. The dwarf notices and makes himself useful for the first time all movie, starting bar fights so they can't escape during the commotion.
That wraith must have been defective.
Oh, he seemed pretty reliable to me.
Did not.
And the two then finally emerge from the whirlwind, the scroll.
Which we never get to see.
According to the wraith inside the scroll, the rod we're looking for caused the Great War.
Oh, is that all? Mm-hmm. Have you lost your damn mind?
Yeah, that Great War thing. You know about the Great War.
What Great War?
The one they never brought up until now.
Oh, that Great War.
But they figure they can run interference on the great evil wizard by doing his legwork. However that's supposed to solve anything. And must acquire the Eye of the Dragon, a massive ruby. It doesn't take long for everyone to agree to help.
How about you?
I don't see what choice I have.
Being a dwarf is not an automatic pass to roam the surface world in search of adventure for any stupid reason.
Maybe he needs to go to buy a comb for that beard? Using fast travel, they reach another city and quickly track down the Thieves Guild. They seem willing to part with the gem under condition that Ridley survived the maze of traps.
The Eye of the Dragon is the prize at the center of my guild maze, won't you? You finish the maze, you win the prize.
And that is the Thieves Guild Master, Xylus, is played by Richard O'Brien.
Who?
Richard O'Brien.
As in, one of the actors from the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
What? No.
Okay.
As in the writer of the Rocky Horror Picture Show and one of the actors.
The maze is considerably less of a maze and more of a series of rooms with ridiculous traps one after the other. To be honest, the setup is not that bad an excuse to have the kind of over-the-top challenges not at all foreign to a good Dungeons & Dragons game. Naturally, Ridley bests the tests unscathed, but of course it turns out that Xylus was just waiting for someone to happen by and get the gem for him. Just as predictably, Demeter waltzes into the super-secret unknown location of this guild in just the right miscellaneous unnamed city that the protagonists happen to be in.
Bullshit! They move to escape by slowly burning magical map that they have already deciphered.
Hey, wait a minute, why are they still keeping it if they already know what it says?
Why did Gerb carry that dirty old goblin skull to three villages trying to find out if it's worth in gold?
Well, Gerb does have an intelligence of 3.
There you go. Unsurprisingly, this does not go as planned, resulting in map scroll being lost in a scuffle. And when Marina gets back to it, Dandor misses!
For fuck's sake, have they never heard of the concept of a retake? Because storyline-wise, Demeter somehow pinned the map down by stepping off to the side of it, allowing him to capture Marina. Their crap rolls continue as the Empress's tracker Norda, played by Kristen Wilson, surprise surprise, tracks them down. Which is about time she does. They're trying to explain that Demeter was following her to find them. It's kinda hard to do when she's behind him.
Or he was probably peeking over the Dungeon Master's screen at the campaign notes. In her mastery of tracking, she also didn't realize that they didn't have the scroll or the mage still with them, as Damodor has acquired both. Fortunately, she believes the two bumbling thieves in the surly Door's story, no questions asked, so she brings them along as she now works to track Damodor, leading to... Oh no, I'm seeing this one out.
Okay. Anyway, Demeter goes about interrogating Marina about the information on the scroll map that they already deciphered, and he has in his possession. And his even bothering to ask questions is kind of pointless, as it turns out his tympanic tentacles have the added bonus of sucking others' memories out for a rather direct and error-free transfer of information. You know, it's really kind of funny if you just imagine it without the special effects.
Don't care.
That taken care of, he leaves and we never see the ear tentacles again.
Never?
Yeah, an hour to go and they never show up for the rest of the movie.
Well, I'm happy here that character trait becomes severely underutilized for a change. Norden masterfully tracks that Demdor took the path through woods and decides to take a shortcut to come off at his camp. It didn't hurt that he happened to be camping at a big, obvious fortress, so Ridley and Snails go in to find the map in Marina, near which they necessarily need.
Let's go in.
We were not meant to enter this place. This task, they must complete alone.
Why? Most D&D gamers feel kind of shitty when only 2 of the 5 people present get to do anything.
And if they aren't going to use the rest of the party members, why have them?
Man, pack mules are cheaper. Snails finds the map almost immediately, but of course this goes just about as well as any D&D adventure with one player character. I can't seem to find the carnivorous oatmeal in here.
To further ensure his demise, Devendor happens to show up. This begins the infamously one-sided fight where the big bad boss is immune to any and all attacks. Even when he gets his throat slashed, the next time we see him, he's perfectly fine. Regeneration?
Continuity error.
Oh.
Snails runs upstairs to escape, and strangely this just so happens to not work. This leaves him at the mercy of being Damodar's punching bag. Before he can finish off his 6th hit point, though, Ridley shows up, and we get our ultimatum where Bad Guy demands the Dragon's Eye or else he will kill Snails. But wait! Snails sacrifices himself to get the Scroll of Uselessness back to Ridley and company.
Okay, that's kind of a pointless way to go.
You have to understand, it was important for the overall movie.
So a great story needs a great tragedy?
What? No, Marlon was only on set for a couple weeks.
Even though they are severely outmatched, the two of them still manage to escape via a portal that this time closes a lot quicker than the last one. They take a short stop at Elven Village, complete with an Elven Elder considerably older looking than any elf would ever appear to be, at least going by official Dungeons and Dragons rules.
You see, when dragons are born, they bring new magic with them. Magic is the life force of our world.
And if many dragons should die?
Oh, life would wither as it must. And the balance would be destroyed.
Likewise, that is found nowhere in the official D&D material.
And wouldn't that have been better to mention sometime during the intro and not an hour and 12 minutes in? Anyway, he gets healed and a new shiny magic sword.
Flora.
What?
Flora.
In the state of Florida?
Close enough. Now that that's settled, they use their magic scroll map thing of whatever the hell to find the location of the evil rod of red dragon magic that could potentially destroy the world, so hey, let's get it. But of course, they run into a problem immediately.
It's a wall of force of some kind. I've never seen this kind of magic.
Only you were meant to pass.
Oh, so Ridley must conquer the dungeon alone. Again.
Why did they even bother collecting a party of adventurers anyway? The dungeon isn't much to write home about anyway, it's just a long corridor to nothing. Except the trapdoor which leads directly to the red dragon door, easily unlocked when the dragon's eye is placed in the dragon's eye.
Upon entering, Ridley finds the place swarming with treasure, but after figuring out its cheap plastic props, he leaves it to find what he came for, the Rod of Savril.
Why do you disturb the Rod of Savril?
Because we're an hour and 20 minutes into this movie and don't have time to mess around with this anymore?
Besides, Max, you're dead!
For the evil it creates cannot be undone unless its spell is broken.
How do I break the spell?
That you must discover.
That? You must discover.
You forgot to fill in the details again.
No. Also, I find it very difficult to fault Profion for plotting against the Empress and convincing the Council that she would turn on them with her army of gold dragons, because, if you ask me, that's exactly what it looks like she's doing. Seriously, all he's done to her is told her off once or twice, and she's raining fire and death on the city she supposedly loves so much.
What have I done?
Preemptive strike.
Violating Council's orders?
And that equality you've been going on about all movies sounds an awful lot like socialism. Good luck finding anyone in this day and age who agrees with that.
Now, after already getting men killed in the fight, Ridley emerges from the dungeon victorious right into the hands of Damodar, who just so happens they were counting on him to do their legwork the whole time.
This more than obvious turn of events leads to the even more obvious handing over of the rod, and extra obvious decision on his part to kill the heroes anyway. At this point, they all decide to fight back, easily defeating this entire unit of henchmen. Which does make me wonder why they didn't bother fighting back before, as it turns out that the soldiers were never any threat anyway. But in the commotion, Damodar escapes through a portal, and Ridley is the only one to make it in after him. Because he hasn't done enough things in this movie by his fucking self.
He tried real hard. Now that Profion has the rod, he has a legitimate means of fighting back against the evil Empress.
The good Empress.
She forces her will on Go Dragons with a rod. It sounds kind of evil to me.
I suppose the DM will have to talk to her player about an alignment change.
Anyway, the Red Dragons finally make an appearance in the movie, and they look just about as same as the Go Dragons, only a slight different hue. Guys, the detail work's already been done for you. At least learn how to read.
Not even that, there's plenty of pretty pictures in these books. Well, now that we're 90 minutes in, it's climax time. Ridley faces off against Damodar, who conveniently enough has left his ring of badassitude in the other scene, as now he's suddenly only an average swordsman, easily beaten when Ridley shoves his knife up his ass and throws him from the top of the tower to his death. So, using Masticato's physics-based falling damage rules, that would be 225 d6 damage.
You did know the official rules cap out at 15d6, right?
Well, that explains why he's still alive in the sequel.
Now it's time for a main event. Ridley versus Profion. It starts out pretty bad for him as the mage summons a staff out of nowhere and beats him like a piano. Luckily for him though, he discards it for no reason.
The other party members teleport in from somewhere, just to show that, no, they still have no reason to be there as they do absolutely nothing to help the situation. But wouldn't you know it, Profion dropped the rod. Kind of a ridiculously stupid thing to do, isn't it?
And by the movie standards, that's saying something. Unfortunately for Profion, the rod is just out of warranty. And a classic example of a badly designed campaign, the players have nothing to do with the final battle, which is between Profion and the Empress, as she summons one of her pets to gobble him up.
Thank you.
For what? He hardly did anything for the entire movie.
He started a bar fight.
Whoop-a-doo. So, happy ending. The commoners are now equal with Magi, just like that. No word on how they intend to rig the economy to pull that off. The death of several dragons has fucked the magic balance for quite a while, and Ridley is now level 2, rocking his studded leather armor. Oh, and Snails is still dead, just to cheer you up. But wait!
Do not question your gift. Your friend awaits you.
Bullshit! Okay, the movie's plot and story were complete bullshit. CGI failed to completely blend in. The dragons, though I love them, look nothing like they should in D&D. And let's not forget the godmod that they made Ridley do throughout the movie. And you call that acting? You guys are overdoing it, don't you think? Overall, the campaigns in our D&D campaigns are more exciting than this, so it's 2 bumbling D's out of 5 for me.
Yes, it's Dungeons & Dragons. The Dungeons & Dragons. The infamously bad movie tied to the game so popular it was accused of being a satanic influence. There's not much I can say about this movie that hasn't already been said before. Well, except for one thing, come to think of it. It's really not as bad as it's made out to be. Oh, don't get me wrong, it's still not a good movie, far from it, but being a well-known bad movie means it's held up and exaggerated on how badly it does its job, when honestly, not only are there far worse films out there, this one's main problem is not that it's poorly done, but it's disappointing. Yeah, it's still poorly executed with a ridiculous plot and pointless characters who do nothing for the hour and 45-minute runtime of this thing, but the problem is that we really wanted this to be a good movie, and it simply isn't, so I think a lot of folks exaggerate its faults way too much. Let's talk about the good points. The settings are varied, and the production value is mediocre to half-assed, which is a compliment compared to some of the films I've reviewed. And while overacting rules the scenes, for fans of cheese, the film as a whole can be highly entertaining. Also, I'll be the Marlon Wayans defense force, as while I acknowledge he's a strange choice for a Dungeons & Dragons movie, you have to admit, in this movie, he fits in just fine. At the end of the day, Dungeons & Dragons is the end result of a decade of the concept getting fucked around in a desperate attempt to fund it once and for all. It stands as an example of a good idea gone bad, but it's still not nearly as bad as it could have been, and is a decent choice for the mythical circle of friends who like watching cheesy movies I keep talking about, coming in at 2 daggers up the ass out of 5. And there's a sequel! We could review that next week.
No.
Okay. Thank you all for watching. I've been Dagger Shado, and remember, making sure you have a varied selection of classes and abilities for your characters doesn't work unless you use more than one.
Let's play. Okay, you win. Game over.